Good evening and welcome to the Norwalk Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on August 5th at 6:06 p.m. Sorry for the delay. We were concluding a meeting as the Aquifer Protection Agency a few minutes earlier. Brian, do you mind calling the meeting or calling the roll?
Sure. Commissioner Jones,
Here.
Commissioner Hubers,
Here.
Commissioner Wells, Commissioner Wells,
Here, sorry about that.
Commissioner Hempstead,
Here.
Commissioner Schulman,
Here.
Commissioner Lankowski,
Here.
Commissioner Tabashnik,
Here.
Commissioner Langalis, Commissioner Langalis, Tammy,
Tammy, can you hear us?
doesn't look like that. I'll message her.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Commissioner Bryce.
Here. She was joining from another device.
Hi, sorry, something went haywire on my computer speaker.
Okay,
Apologies.
well, we have two of you now, but I'm glad that you're here.
Oh, okay, I'll log out of the other one. Sorry.
It's all good. All right. So we have a quorum. We have 10 members here this evening, if I counted correctly. So we will alternate between Anna and then Doug as we go through presentations and applications this evening. So with that, let's begin with our first application. This is number 2026-54, an 824 referral and coastal site plan review, Norwalk Redevelopment Agency, 20 Hendricks Avenue, construct a boardwalk as a part of the Harbor Loop Trail report and recommended action. Who this evening is with the Norwalk Redevelopment Agency and presenting on this application?
Hi, good evening. This is Emily Weckman. I'm the client representative from Weston Sampson, and I also have a colleague, at least, Conrad Newsman is also joining us from Weston Sampson. I don't think Carly Kramer from Norwalk Redevelopment Agency was able to make it tonight, but I am gladly here to present on their behalf.
Wonderful. Please go ahead and begin your presentation.
Okay, I will share my screen.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for having us tonight and sharing your time this evening. Okay. Sorry, little lag.
It's all good. We can see your screen.
There we go. All right. So this is 20 Hendricks Ave. That is the town-owned property that abuts right up to the Norwalk River. It is landlocked on all other sides by adjacent properties such as 148 East Ave. And then you have St. Anne's down to its south, and then a multi-use facility with residential and businesses to its north. Here are some existing photos in case you aren't familiar with this property. Starting in the top left, this is the view of the property from that residential business side. There are existing boardwalks to the north and south that we are trying to tie into. So this is really part of a long-term vision of connecting and filling in gaps for the NRVT trail and really connecting the community and providing opportunities to the waterfront. So this is the view of the existing boardwalk to the north. Here's where it terminates in the middle. Along the 20 Hendricks Ave, our property line is right about where you see the grass ending, and then to the left is 148 East parking lot, and to the right is the 20 Hendricks Ave property. As we continue our way to the south towards St. Anne's, this is the view that you get through a little bit of a footpath, and here is the start of their boardwalk along St. Anne's. We are in a FEMA flood zone, and we have completed and submitted our permits to CTDEEP as well as Army Corps in conjunction with our local permitting. This has been a long-term vision for the Norwalk Redevelopment Agency. It was previously approved with the Connecticut Deep permit back in 2014. That did expire. Back in 2024, the project was revitalized at conceptual stages. And in 2026, we started to progress through design development to get to this point for local, state, and federal permitting. This is the overall plan. I will be zooming into these enlargement boxes, but just so you could see the overall plan and get yourself oriented. Here is our proposed plan. It is a 950-foot long elevated boardwalk that would be approximately 12 feet wide, and that would be clear. And the majority of it is located at an elevation at elevation 9. We do have to ramp up and ramp down at the north and south to meet those existing boardwalks and tie into it. But for the majority of the boardwalk, it is elevated above the existing vegetation. Because if you have been there, right where that photo was, where the grass ends and then there is some dense vegetation, there's a slope. So we really don't have much room to do an at-grade walk. So that's why it's at that elevation 9. The boardwalk would also have some guardrail protection on the sides. And we have 2 access points that would be just for maintenance. It will be gated off and locked for the normal public, but we have an access point on the north end and on the south end for maintenance reasons. In addition to the boardwalk, we are also improving existing outfall conditions that are currently there. There's about 4 outfalls that we are improving the sedimentation and erosion control around those outfalls. So we're extending them from where they are. We're creating a larger outfall that is meeting current sedimentation erosion guidelines and can accept the volume of water that is flowing through them. That is the majority of what I wanted to share tonight, but I'm here to answer any questions. This is a cross section that shows some general construction details about how we're going to achieve this. But again, I'll turn the floor over to you so we can respond to any questions. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Are there any questions for Ms. Weckman? All right. Well, I'll just note as a comment that I'm excited to see progress on this project. So thank you for your presentation this evening and for bringing these plans to us.
You're welcome. Now, I am new to your commission, and every municipality runs a little differently. Do you like us to stay on through the entirety of the meeting, or what else do you need from me this evening?
I appreciate that. So given that there were no commissioner questions, and unless you have anything else that you would like to add, I'll call for a motion in a moment here. We'll take action, and then you're welcome to sign off. So thank you.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Great. With that, is there a motion for this application?
So moved.
All right, that's a move to approve. Right, Lou?
Yes.
Okay, great. And a second from Harvey. Excellent. Brian, do we have a resolution for this one?
Yeah, what I'll note is we should just, to be careful, take 2 motions on this one to
Sure.
approve the 824 portion of it, and then one to approve the coastal site plan portion of it. So I'm assuming that this motion would be for the 824, and then we'll do the coastal.
Well, that's
site plan.
exactly what I had in mind.
Right.
That's what I heard Lou say. Harvey, you're good with that as a second still? Excellent. Okay.
All right. Pull that up.
Thank you, Brian.
No problem. So this is new. So you guys have not seen this in your memo, but hopefully it's nothing groundbreaking.
Any modifications or comments on this resolution? All right.
Yeah, just
Go ahead.
you're referring to it as the common council as opposed to the city council.
Good catch.
Excellent. All right. Brian, do you mind calling the roll for this one?
Sure. And Commissioner Tabashnik is seated, or Commissioner Hempstead?
Yes, seated for both these votes, since there's two, but yes.
Okay, because JJ joined, so I think we have 8 regulars,
Yep.
and then
Just Anna's seated. Doug is not seated for this one. He'll be seated for the
thank
next.
you. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Hubers,
Yes.
Commissioner Wells,
Yes.
Commissioner Schulman,
Yes.
Commissioner Lankowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Langallis,
Yes.
Commissioner Tabashnik,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan Byron,
Yes.
and Commissioner Bryce.
Yes.
Right, that's approved.
That's approved. All right. So for the coastal site plan review, is there a motion for that application?
I'll make the motion.
That's to approve, Tammy?
Yes, to approve.
Excellent. Is there a second? Thank you, John. All right, Brian, do you mind pulling up that resolution? All right, is there any discussion or modifications to this resolution? All right, hearing none. Brian, do you mind calling the roll again?
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Hubers,
Yes.
Commissioner Wells,
Yes.
Commissioner Schulman,
Yes.
Commissioner Lankowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Langallis,
Yes.
Commissioner Tabashnik,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan Byron, and Commissioner Bryce.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Excellent. Thank you for your presentation this evening, Ms. Weckman.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You as well. Our next application is 2026-53 Coastal Site Plan Review. John and Patrice Malvisi, 3 Hilltop Road, construct a new single-family residence within the coastal area management boundary. Report and recommended action. Who here this evening is representing 3 Hilltop Road?
Alexandra Ma, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Please go ahead and begin your presentation, Ms. Ma.
Good evening. I would like to start with thanking the Commission for reviewing our application, and also Amelia for her comments and working with us to make it perfect. I would like to share my slides very quickly.
Please.
To walk you through the proposed key. Please work. Okay. Tonight I'm going to be presenting 3 Hilltop Road in Norwalk, and this is a proposal for a single family residence. Just to take a look at the location of the site, and as you can see, it is highlighted in red. It is located on the top of a knoll or hill with some steep slopes and shallow ledge. This is 2-acre site located in AAA zone, which supports a single family residence, which is hidden here in the trees with a driveway. And also there's a detached garage, which is also hiding within the forested area with a separate driveway. The area is supported by septic system and public water supply. I highlighted for you some of the coastal resources. So the area is located within the shorelands. Shorelands are the areas which are outside of the coastal hazard zone, and my next slide is going to be depicting the coastal area hazard zones. In the green, I highlighted, and this is my area for the interpretation, the tidal wetland areas, which are located very close to our site. The property line is located 70 feet from the nearest tidal wetland, and also in the vicinity we have the estuarine embayments, which is the Wilson Cove. This is the FEMA flood map, and you can see that in blue-green are highlighted areas which are flood areas, and then our property is located entirely outside of the flood zone. What is being proposed is a single-family residence, which is highlighted in red with three-car garage. Included also is a patio in the back with a 20 by 40 swimming pool, proposed pool house and covered porch. Also proposed courtyard with pergola in the back. And then we have a driveway area. And please don't get nervous because yes, we are encroaching here in the zoning setback, but this map actually had been revised, and I'm going to show you in the on the next slide how the driveway was revised to be outside of the zoning setback. Also, we are proposing stormwater management, which are in-ground infiltration systems here, and then we have a proposed septic. And because the residence is going to be located over a steeply sloping area, we will be supporting the fill in the back of the residence with 4-foot retaining wall. This fill will allow us to create a flat space for the proposed pool, also support the in-ground infiltration system and the septic system here. Here's the revised driveway. So as you can see, we managed to get outside of this zoning setback. So this parking area now, it's narrower and outside of the setback. What we are proposing the mitigation measures, which are the soil erosion and sediment control measures. Those are going to be preventing any sediment getting outside of the construction site. As you can see in orange, we have a line of silt fence, which is going to be encompassing the site and preventing any of the sediment getting out of the construction zone. Also, we have a stockpile area where all the excavated, especially for the foundation and for the pool material is going to be. Some of it then is going to be used for the grading in the back and septic and the drainage system. And we have anti-tracking pad and both construction access points. Also, the stormwater management is being proposed because we are going to be increasing the impervious surface. So the mitigation measure for that is going to be to install the Coltech system with several units. And this is going to be collecting the stormwater from the driveway area, and highlighted in blue is the area which is going to be collected. So all the stormwater from the blue area of the driveway is going to be discharged into the Coltech system, and then it's going to be infiltrating into the soil. So the water which is going to be moving through the soil profile is going to be renovated by absorption by small particles such as clay particles and organic particles, which has high absorption rate. And also the microbes which are present in the soil are going to cause decomposition and rework of the pollutants. And then the last important one is that the proposed development meets all the zoning requirements. And this is all I have to say. Tonight with me is James Schettino, who is our architect, and also Wayne DeVenzo from Fairfield County Engineering, if you have any questions regarding the drainage system.
Thank you.
And thank you for your attention.
Of course. Are there any questions for Ms. Mock or Mr. Schettino?
Jim Schettino here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. I believe we have a commissioner question coming in from Commissioner Hempstead that I'd like to address first.
Sure.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It might be outside the purview, but was there any consideration for having part of this driveway not an impervious surface, but a different surface that might absorb some of the runoff?
Thank you.
Will be probably for Wayne DeVenzo question.
Yeah.
Please, go ahead.
Yes.
So the question is, all your parking area and your driveway is an impervious surface. So I was wondering if any alternatives could be or was considered as portions of this being a surface that would, allow for drainage through instead of being an impervious surface. And I don't know if that's, I'm just asking.
Sure.
Sure.
Wayne DeVanzo, Fairfield County Engineering. Yeah, I mean, it was maybe considered lightly. The soil in the area of the driveway is not as conducive to retention as in the other areas. So that's one reason, but also porous asphalt, as a driveway, I don't think is entirely appropriate for single family use. It requires quite a lot of maintenance that needs to be done for it to actually function properly. It has to be vacuumed anywhere from 1 to 4 times a year, depending on who you talk to. So yeah, it was considered, but it really seemed more appropriate to, especially since the soils were so much better lower down, to go with the more conventional infiltration system.
Thank you.
Mr. Shantina, did you have a part of the presentation you'd like to?
Well,
Sure.
basically, we're the architects of record for the client, and as Alec said, we're proposing a single-family dwelling. It's around 5,000 feet with a 3-car garage, pool, very small pool house. The house is colonial revival style. We feel we complied with all the zoning setbacks, coverage, and building height. We went through that with the zoning department. And we were also approved by the Wilson Point Association for their architecture review process. So I'm happy to answer any questions as far as the architectural design or the site plan goes.
Excellent. Are there further questions from the commission? All right. Hearing none, Ms. Mock or Mr. Shantino or Mr. DeVanzo, do you have anything else you would like to add for your application this evening?
Just would like to say thank you for your review.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. With that, is there a motion for this application? Galen, is that a motion to approve? I'll take that as a yes. And as a reminder, Commissioner Hempstead is seated for this application. Is there a second? Thank you, Harvey. Brian, do you mind pulling up the resolution? Is there any modifications or discussion on this resolution? All right, hearing none. Brian, do you mind calling the roll?
Commissioner Hubers,
Yes.
Commissioner Hempstead,
Yes.
Commissioner Schulman,
Yes.
Commissioner Lankowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Wells.
Yeah.
Commissioner Langalis,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan Byron,
Yes.
and Commissioner Bryce.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Excellent. Thank you for your presentation this evening. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
All right. The next item on the agenda is 2025-49 special permit, Indian Hill RE LLC, 284 New Canaan Avenue, District 5, Block 46, Lot 76, Request to modify conditions of approval of special permit to expand the area of the previously approved contractor's yard. Report and recommended action. Who this evening is representing 284 New Canaan Avenue?
Good evening. This is Eric Bernheim. I represent the owners of the property. I'm an attorney at FLB Law. And we are here to modify our prior approval, which I'm sure the commission remembers. Let me share my screen. Originally, it was approved where there would be a concrete barrier with a timber wall on top of it to provide an acoustical barrier in the location here where this red line is. What we discovered as we were getting more into the planning phase and acquiring materials was that we could more readily obtain and more quickly install the acoustical barrier if we switched it to a timber wall with supported by effectively telephone poles. And we felt that that would actually look nicer as well. So we obtained staff approval to modify that plan to allow for the 20-foot timber wall instead of the combination cement wall with timber on top. We were also going to have our cement bins located on the site side of that timber wall, so it would actually serve as kind of a double wall there. What we then uncovered when we went to install the telephone poles that would secure the timber wall was that there was actually some electrical conduits within the area that we were going to have to drill those telephone poles into. So what we are now proposing is to relocate the timber wall approximately 7 feet further outside of our site. You can see here the area between the cement storage bins is highlighted in blue. So the cement storage bins will remain in the red line. As part of this, conservation has suggested that we place some plantings to the other side of the timber wall, which we're showing on this plan. So effectively, we're asking the commission for permission to relocate the acoustical barrier wall approximately 7 feet closer to the neighboring properties. We did discuss this with our acoustical engineer before we brought it to staff. They did review the plan and say that there would be negligible acoustical impact should we do this, meaning that the same acoustical benefits to the neighbors would be available with the timber wall being 7 feet closer to them, and then the bins being located where they were originally approved. I've also relayed this to the AKRF, which was the commission's peer reviewer of our acoustical report during the modification hearing, and they agreed with our acoustical report, SHA, saying that there would be no additional or negligible difference in the acoustical benefit. They did point out that there were some suggested, I'll call them wing walls on that they had suggested on the sides of a couple of the bins that were not implemented in the approval. We have no objection to those. So if your modification of this were to approve everything, we'd be happy to have these wing walls approved as the draft resolution prepared by your staff indicates. And we certainly agree with staff that based upon the two acoustical engineering firms agreeing that this will have no material impact on the adjacent neighbors from a sound standpoint, that we feel that this is a minor modification that can be approved tonight. And we ask that you do that so that we can get this wall up and implement the plans that were approved by the commission, and the additional safeguards for the neighbors will be implemented as well once that happens. So I'm available for any questions.
Are there questions for Attorney Bernheim? Go ahead, Lou. You are muted, Lou. We can't hear you.
Thank you. Sorry about that. A question for the staff. When did we approve this? How long has it been?
Well, the exact date, I'm not positive. It was earlier in 2026. I'm going to guess like March, maybe April.
Okay, then question for Attorney Bernheim. Why has it taken so long to get to this point?
Because
I
the
say that
material-
without prejudice.
Sure. The materials that we needed to implement the plan did take some time to obtain, and we had to have the timber wall milled specifically for us. You know, getting this many telephone poles, if you're not the electric company, is not the easiest task to do. We also wanted to wait for any appeal periods to expire before we started spending money on materials and the such. So, you know, and then once we had the telephone poles delivered, we had done some initial site due diligence in preparation for the weekend work that we had been informing the neighbors was about to start. And we've been keeping staff informed as well. And that's when the electrical conduit was discovered for the first time, unfortunately. So we certainly want to get this work done as soon as possible. The site is significantly cleared to allow for all the work that was approved. So we really want to get it going as well. And we hope that if this gets approved tonight, that we can schedule all this work to begin as soon as possible.
Am I hearing correctly that you've been keeping the neighbors informed as well?
We have been. I've been trying to take some of the burden off of Mr. Kleppen because he's the one that gets most of the emails, and Steve always sends them to me, and we have been sharing information with Mr. Wilson, who's kind of the lead person there, and keeping him informed and been going back and forth with him.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Tammy.
Thank you. Hi, Mr. Bernheim. How long do these timber walls last?
You know, I think that they will likely last 20 to 30 years, but they're also in segments. So if something were to need to be replaced, it can easily be replaced. We'd have to have it specifically milled, right? But if it needed to be replaced, we could certainly have it done, and then we would be able to swap out whatever portion of it. It's not a 20-foot wall section from top to bottom. It's, probably 8-foot sections that are, 8 feet tall or something of the sort.
Okay, thank you. I think I'm not familiar with exactly what you're referring to, and I prior to our meeting this evening did not have the opportunity to drive over onto the property. Like, we had that tour the last time you were before us. Can you tell me or show the commission if the other plantings have been done? I remember it was sort of tricky timing. Was it the right time of year? Were they going to grow? And then in your reaching out to the neighbors and the emails that Steve has been getting, I didn't see any in our packet of information. Can you share with us what the neighbors' concerns are?
So a couple of additional responses. The wood is treated, so it should last a very long time, and it's kind of similar to the timber walls that you see along the highway oftentimes. That sort of a material, and serves the same purpose to block sound from adjacent properties from the highway, right? The neighbors want to see the safeguards implemented, and I think a lot of their complaints, and Steve can certainly speak to this, Steve and Brian can speak to this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of their concerns is that not a lot has happened to implement the approval, and the problem with that is because the biggest piece of implementing the approval is this acoustical barrier, and we need to get this wall up, and once the wall goes up, everything else will fall into place rather quickly.
So have the other plantings been planted that were in the area where they were cut down?
So the planting plan in the area that had the 10,000 square feet clear cut, those have been planted. Yes, those are there. I'm not sure if the plantings to the what direction is that? I'll say the northeast have been planted yet. But the ones that separate the neighbors to our site, those have been planted.
So
Okay,
just a quick follow-up to that. This is Brian Carey with Land Tech Consultants on behalf of the applicant. Most of the trees that are going to be planted will be done so after the wall is constructed. We do need some space in order to construct the wall, which was previously approved by the commission. So the goal is to get the wall. It's kind of the linchpin in the whole process to start complying with the special permit, and also to placate the neighbors regarding the noise issues.
So, and I will say that, it's our hope that we can hit this for the remaining trees that need to be planted, that we can hit this fall planting season and that they're in this season.
I would hope so. And if and when we get to that, I'm probably going to recommend that in the resolution. And I'm not, I think I like the idea of the whole timber barrier, but I'm not really sure why you got rid of the cement idea. I don't, like, why didn't you ask us this to begin with back when we approved the application? We spent a lot of time on discussing that sound barrier. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think a couple of things happened. I think trying to get the cement blocks that we needed to build such a sturdy wall that would also be able to support, I believe it was 8 feet of a timber fence on top of it, what was more difficult than we thought. A suggestion was made as we were trying to place those materials that maybe the timber wall was a better solution from an aesthetic standpoint, as well as a longevity standpoint, and just more practical in that sense. So when the suggestion was made at that point, we quickly went to and we were also told that it would likely be able to be obtained more quickly than if we had to have the cement blocks made that would have been sturdy enough to support everything. So we thought it was going to be the quicker solution. At this point, was it necessarily the quicker solution? I don't know if that's the case because of this delay of finding the issue with the electrical conduit. But now we have all of that material. If we get your blessing, we can schedule it to go in, and it's, I believe, the material's on site and ready to go. It wasn't a decision made lightly, and also the timber wall is actually more expensive for us than the cement walls. So we just thought that it was a better solution, better long-term solution, and would be more, I'll almost say camouflaged as the neighbors are looking through it than cement blocks that would have been kind of like a white concrete cement looking block as opposed to a the wooded timber.
And thank you for the explanation. And since most of us probably won't be on the commission in 20 years, would you be willing to say that you will repair the wall as needed in the resolution?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think that's kind of implied. I mean, this is the acoustical barrier that's going to block the sound. And you are still getting the concrete bins on the other side of it as well, albeit 7 feet away from the timber wall, right? So it's not going to have as much wear and tear either, because those bins are going to have that, 7 feet plus or minus separation, where when material is going in there, it's not going to be pushing up against that acoustical barrier. So we do feel it's a better solution. But yes, it's it's required to be maintained and the such. So if something needs to be replaced because it's rotting or coming apart at the seams or something of the sort, then yes, we're committed to doing that.
Thank you.
Diana?
To clarify, the original concrete wall was how tall?
I believe that was 13 feet tall with 8 feet of wood timber on top of it.
Okay, and the new wall, the new timber wall is going to be how tall?
It's going to be 20 to 21 feet.
Okay, that's tall. And do you anticipate that the plantings will be done this fall?
Yes.
Okay, and when I was on the site last, I noticed that the plantings that were there were not very large. How large will the trees that are going to shield this very tall wall be?
Brian, do you want to?
Yeah, they're 2.5 inch caliper. They will be 2.5 inch caliper, which is kind of the largest nursery stock you can really get that can be easily planted.
And how tall will that be?
So generally, 2.5 inch calipers between 8 and 10 feet planted.
And how much do they grow, Brian? How tall will they get?
So most of the trees that were spec'd will be, 30 to 50 feet tall at the, once they reach their mature heights.
Okay, thank you.
Anna?
Yeah, I thought I was missing something about how and when the wall changed from concrete to wood. So staff approved that modification previously, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And who was it that you said that it was recommended? Who recommended that change? Where did that come from?
I don't know the specific person who recommended it. My clients were trying to place the materials to implement the plan. When they were doing that, they were running into issues with getting the cement blocks that were necessary to do the original approved plan and how long it was going to take. And they wanted this done as quickly as possible. Then they reached out and said, could we do a timber wall? They explored that option, determined how long that would take, figured it was going to be quicker, and then weighed the ups and downs of it and decided to go with the timber wall.
Okay, so you don't know.
I don't
know
know
that recommendation. Okay. And would you be, I understand that the difference between moving the bins back and keeping them where they are is negligible according to the sound people. Neighbors are understandably concerned about expanding sort of the footprint of active work. So I think keeping the bins in the same place makes sense. Would you be comfortable to including some sort of a condition that you will not use the 7 feet between the timber and the bins for any additional storage or work or whatever?
Certainly, because that's what the plan shows. The plan shows the bins staying in their same location. If they were to expand, then that'd be an illegal expansion of the yard. And the benefit of actually having the timber wall 7 feet from the bins is it will allow us to maintain not only the bins from that side, but also the wall from that side. It gives us enough space where if
You have to do repairs or
right,
something.
if we had to replace a panel or something of the sort, we could now get to that, especially when those trees that are on the other side that are going to eventually be 40 to 50 feet tall, we're not going to want to remove those trees in order to get to the wall. So it gives us that space, 7 feet to go in and swap it out. It may be a little bit tight when we're doing that, but it's enough space to get in there and do the work.
I just want to make sure you would be comfortable with something that says that 7 feet can't be used for any other purposes. It's not going to become extra storage or where smoke breaks happen or, okay, cool. Thank you.
Are there further questions from the commission? Hearing none. Attorney Bernheim, do you have anything else that you'd like to share with the commission this evening?
No, we appreciate you considering this and hope that you can give us the approval so we could get this wall up. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. To the commission, is there a motion for this item?
All right, I'll do it.
Is that a motion to approve, Tammy?
Yes.
All right. John, did I see a hand for a second? Okay, great. Brian, do you mind pulling up the resolution? Or Steve, if Brian stepped away?
Nope.
Brian's the one.
I was going to do it.
All right. These are the two conditions that we talked about before. Anna, I recall you had proposed an additional condition
Yes.
about how that space will not be used for any
That the
purpose.
7 feet buffer space between the back of the bins and the wall will not be used for any other purpose other than repairs as needed, for like wall repairs or bin repairs as needed. No storage, no other purpose. Something like that. And can we have something for Tammy's?
I was going to
says-
get that next. Yep.
Yeah, okay, great.
Awesome. Tammy, I believe we had language in the original, but I don't have it in front of me, so I don't mind a belt and suspenders approach if you have ideas for language on the fact that the wall must be maintained and repaired if there's any damage to it, right? Is that the language you're looking for?
Yes, that sounds good. I mean, it's partly there in number 3, the space in the bins. I mean, it does say maintenance, but I think we need to say that the wall will be maintained on a regular basis or something like that, so that there's no doubt. Because
I would include repair and replace as necessary. When they said it would last for 20 years or 30 years, just like at whatever point it dies, you might have to replace the whole thing.
Steve, were you going to say something?
Of course, I'm muted. Like, you could just say maintained in perpetuity, and I think that covers it.
Great. Thanks for the wording.
Excellent. Are there any other modifications to the resolution? All right. Anna is seated for this. Tammy, do you mind? Are you okay with these changes since you moved? And John, are you okay with it since you seconded? Excellent. Okay. Brian or Steve, do you mind calling the roll?
Sure. I'm sorry, who was seated?
Anna is seated for this one. Doug is not seated.
Okay, I'll start with Ms. Tabachnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Wells.
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan Byron.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Langalis.
Yes.
Commissioner Lankowski.
Yes.
Commissioner Ubers.
Yes.
Commissioner Schulman.
Yes.
And Chairman Bryce.
Yes. All right, that passes unanimously. Thank you for your presentation this evening. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody. Appreciate the help.
Of course. All right, so next on our agenda is 2026-52, a coastal site plan review for 21 and 23 Isaac Street. Though I proposed to the commission that we first hear the public hearing, since my understanding is that the coastal site plan review that's proposed isn't something we can actually take action on until we decide what to do with the text amendment. Is there any objection to reordering to where we hear the public hearing first for the text amendment this evening? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to the public hearing portion of this evening, which will then hear 2026-48 R Wall Street Opportunity Fund LLC, CO Jason Milligan, zoning regulation text amendment to Article 4 to allow for properties within the CD4 zone that have received a site plan or special permit approval for dwelling units, which include dormitory, extended stay hotel rooms, and/or multifamily dwellings, to convert to any other type of dwelling units, dormitory, extended stay hotel rooms, and/or multifamily dwellings. Public hearing, report, and recommended action. Who here this evening is representing the Wall Street Opportunity Fund?
Good evening. I'm here on behalf of the property owner. Thank you. Adam Blank for Wall Street Opportunity Fund LLC, owner of 2123 Isaac Street. If you'll allow me, for the public hearing, it's very hard to, I think, separate the two applications for your consideration. So I intend to give you a lengthier version right now. And when we get through that, then just say, you heard me last time, it's the same thing, and not repeat myself. So you'll get one presentation from me, but I recognize you've got to consider and act on the text change first before you consider the coastal site plan modification. That's okay.
That is okay. Please go ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you. So let me share my screen. There, do you have that up? Good.
It is loading. There we go. We can see it now.
All right, great. So I'm going to be the only one, I think, presenting tonight on the application, although helping me respond to questions, I think we do have on the Zoom Sal Talamo from Sullivan Architectural Group, the project architect. Ray Sullivan had a conflict. If he can't be, he'll be on. He's a designer also with the Sullivan Architectural Group. Vince Hines may be on. He also had a conflict, but he may be on from Redness and Mead, the civil engineer. Finally, Jason Milliken, it's hard for me to tell, may be on as well for ownership. He's actually tuning in from Europe, so it's in the middle of the night for him. So if he's a little less animated than you're used to, it's not because he's not really, really excited about this project. He is. It's just because he's kind of exhausted. We have provided notice of the filing and of the hearing on both applications to the neighbors and returned those certificates of mailing to your staff. The text change, which is in front of you first, that's really, it is unlikely to have an impact on any property other than 23 Isaac Street. And the purpose of that is to make it clear in your regulations and to make it clearly, I guess, allowed for 23 Isaac Street to be developed as entirely multifamily, or for the owner to split it into any combination of multifamily, extended stay, or dormitory use, rather than forcing it to stay split between multifamily and extended stay hotel as it's currently approved. The second application is contingent on that text change being approved. If you approve it, you can consider whether to allow 23 Isaac Street to be converted from a split between extended stay and multifamily to entirely multifamily. I'm going to just try to run through things chronologically for you. I think I know you have a staff memo that does that a little bit, but I think it would help to have a refresher on the history of sort of how we got here, and why we're asking for what we're asking, and why we hope you'll think it's both not a big deal, but also a positive for the neighborhood and for Norwalk. So originally, this application was for a 210-room extended stay hotel with no apartments. This was the original project, 210-room extended stay. And you're on Leonard Street here, looking up, this is the Wall Street Place or the POCO project with a little public realm area. Up here, you are at the dead end part of Isaac Street. To your left is the Wall Street Place new construction, and to your right is the Isaac Street development. This is what was approved, 210 unit extended stay. Shortly after this was approved, Jason purchased 24 Belden, and he proposed at 24 Belden to put up a hotel at that site. Now, it was kind of decided, we knew after the 200 unit extended stay that that's actually a fairly large size hotel for our area, and splitting it into 100 unit at each site, one extended stay and one regular hotel, had a much greater chance of being feasible in the long run. So we went in for a 24 Belden for a 100 unit hotel, roughly 100 unit, and we came back to you at this particular site and said we wanted to make minor changes and make the 210 room extended stay into a split with 100 units of multifamily on one side, 119 extended stay. We didn't actually even do new renderings because it was the same building, just changed the inside, the guts of it, and it did add some live work units along Leonard Street. So that was it. We came in with a minor change to separate out the building, move 100 units from extended stay to apartments. You accepted that application. You, through your staff, in your staff memo back in December of 2024, found that the change, this would normally require an entirely new coastal SAM site plan application, but because it was really just a change on the interior and it wasn't going to make a substantial increase in traffic, that we didn't need to provide a whole new application. It's not a substantial change. It was a minor change, and it was allowed as a minor change for the conversion of 100 units to apartment. That was approved in 2024. And that's sort of where we are today in terms of the approval. It's approved as 100 apartments, 5 live work units, 119 extended stay hotel rooms. We got now, since that approval happened, you changed your definition of dwelling unit in your regulations, and your regulations now say a dwelling unit is, and it has, I say what was the normal definition, which would typically encompass a house, a condo, or an apartment. And then you added, it shall include dormitory rooms and extended stay hotel rooms. Okay, so an apartment, a condo, a house, or, single family duplex, all of those are dwelling units, as is extended stay hotel room or dormitory rooms. As a result of that definitional change, you view this project as having 224 dwelling units. Now, included in that is 10 affordable units, and included in that approval is 162 parking spaces. Because our approval came before the change, our approval is valid. It stands. He could go out if he wanted to and build it today. It's a pre-existing non-conforming because you wouldn't be allowed to do that 224 units today because it exceeds the density that's allowed. It's too many dwelling units. So we started as all extended stay. We cut it in half, and now we're asking to kind of completely eliminate the extended stay component here at 23 Isaacs. It wasn't the plan to come to you 3 different times on this site. We did think we had a sort of a winning concept when it was split. The hotel was split into the 2 sites. We worked pretty diligently with hotel brands and operators to try to come up with a plan to make hotel work at both 23 Isaacs and 24 Belden. As you know, at 24 Belden, we have secured a brand. We've paid the franchise fee. We have a hotel operator that we've partnered with. And even at 24 Belden, it's sort of counting pennies to try to make that work with the lenders, despite our belief that the neighborhood needs a hotel and it will work. But trying to get that one up and running and financed and then sort of stabilized or leased, while also doing another one at this site is highly unlikely to be successful, and we've not found any partners willing to partner with on it. So we know at 23 Isaacs, if we do extended stay hotel, it's going to be going it alone without a brand, without a flag. So that kind of leaves us 2 options right now, or 2 options that I think are viable. Doing nothing is probably not a viable option, but one is to take the existing approval, build the apartments and lease those out with your traditional 12-month leases, and take the extended stays out of the building, self-manage it, and those would be leased out as rooms for 30-day leases, which is extended stay, 30 days or less. So 30 days, you couldn't do a 1-year lease, and attempt to fill it that way and manage it with 30-day leases. That works. It's a little cute. It's not really what I think anybody wants, including the client. It's doable. The second option and the preferred path, of course, is to just do it right and convert all of the units to multifamily, not get into these short-term, super short-term leases, and have flexibility to be able to lease for a year or less. And we do anticipate there may be some leases for less than a year, even on the multifamily side, but to have that flexibility with it predominantly being, longer-term leases on the multifamily side, but some would be less than a year. So what does that look like? Well, lo and behold, it's the same building you've approved twice before. There's almost no architectural changes to the building on the exterior. The only changes are really on the interior. One, there is a meaningful change on the exterior, a positive one, which is that this area here, which is the public realm space, in the original approval, you can kind of see it here. It's just like a wall or screening that shields parking at that public realm space. And there was criticism of that by your commission. I think Ms. Maldonado had a fair amount of it, as I recall, and the redevelopment agency did as well. So this now creates townhouse units. I think some of them are about 1,200 square feet, so they're very generously sized units facing the public realm area. The outside looks a little bit nicer, I would say. It's pretty much the same. On the inside, as is kind of clear, the unit mix would change. We would go from 224 dwelling units, which of course is the hotel and apartments combined, down to 207 units. Those would be a mix of studios, 1 bedrooms, and 2 bedrooms. That's a reduction in your dwelling units by about 17. With the new plans, we also plan to add additional parking, which will be within the building's approved footprint, going a little bit lower and a little bit higher on the interior. So we've got 162 spaces approved. With the new plan, we would bump that up by almost 50 spaces to about 209 spaces. So between the unit count reduction and the increases in parking spaces, this project isn't going to have any more impact on the availability of off-site parking or public parking as what the already approved project would. You're getting less units, you're getting more spaces. It's going to be roughly neutral in terms of what impact it might have off the site and parking. We did have a traffic engineer give you a trip generation comparison that showed it that the difference in the usage is negligible in terms of vehicle trips coming in and out of the site. It was, I think, a couple more in one peak hour and a couple less in the other peak hour, but it was really nothing. The approval right now has 10 deed restricted affordable units. If this project is approved, that will increase to 20 deed restricted affordable units. Additionally, Mr. Milligan's looking at a program that the state runs called Build for CT to provide some of the financing for the development. That was utilized by him over at 24 Belden. It's been used by a number of developers in Norwalk and around the state. It's quite popular. Under that program, you would provide, on this site, we would provide an additional 40 units of affordable. So you'd go from 10 units of affordable to 60. Now, the affordable units under the Build for CT program, those are not sort of deed restricted in perpetuity. They last so long as the mortgage lasts. And that loan has pretty favorable terms. So it's likely to be quite a long-term loan. Again, I can't guarantee it because we got to have an approved project. You got to have it financed. You got to get the approval. I don't have that. I can't guarantee it. I can just tell you that we do have it at 24 Belden. It is definitely the preferred option here. And we hope and think it will become a reality. But what we can guarantee you is you're going to at least go from 10 units to 20 units. We think that these, if you approve the text change and the minor change on the application, then the project will not quite, but be almost immediately shovel ready, and we'll be able to, get going on construction. The We think it'll be a boon for the restaurants and businesses in the area that do need the boots on the ground to survive. Mr. Milligan, I think we know about some of the controversies, but sometimes we forget that he's the landlord of over 100 commercial tenants in the Wall Street neighborhood. If there is no one more invested in the success of the neighborhood, and that's not just the success of this apartment building, it's the success of the commercial businesses in the neighborhood than him. We hope you'll follow a sort of this form-based zoning approach, which your new regulations mainly adhere to. We believe your POCD supports. You've already said the building, it's the right form, it's the right size for the site, it's the right bulk, it's in the right place. So let us mix and match what goes on the inside rather than forcing an interior configuration that's really not optimized for the market demand. We think this is a real positive for the neighborhood. We submitted with these applications and with the text change specifically narratives that had a lengthy discussion on the POCD and compatibility with the POCD. If prompted, I'll go into that into detail, but otherwise I'll just refer back to the narrative, which should be part of the record. I'll also note that you should have a letter of support in your files from the factory underground. And then I'll also just show you the proposed text language change that we're asking for is to say if you've got an approval for dormitory rooms, extended stay hotels, or multifamily, but you haven't obtained a zoning permit, you can convert any of those uses to any other dwelling units, so long as your total collective number of dwelling units does not increase. And I'm not certain that it actually only applies to this site, but it at least predominantly applies to this site. And in the future, because your other dwelling unit reg has been changed already, you won't have any of these coming in the future. This is just looking in the past of what's been approved, because otherwise it's already moot based on the change in the reg. I think get this open if I can somehow. I think I can stop sharing. If I can. Did it stop?
Not yet. There we go. Yep.
All right. Okay, and I think that's the bulk of that is the presentation. If you've got questions for me or the team, I'm happy to do our best to respond.
Thank you. Go ahead, Lou. You are muted.
Thank you. Attorney Blank, why can't we simply approve the 204 or so units as multifamily without changing the zoning language?
Well, we've had a little bit of a debate about whether you can or you can't. I would say that an argument exists that yes, you can, because under your regs now of what a dwelling unit is, we've got 224, so this would be less, and you can do that. Another argument exists that at the time that we got our approvals, we could not have done 224 multifamily units, and there was not a period in time in which the regs would have allowed 224 or multifamily units. And so the only way to allow it would be to change the reg. But it's really just for this. And I feel like it doesn't sort of do harm to your regulatory scheme as a whole. But this is the safest approach to it.
Steve, do we have an opinion from the staff regarding this request?
I'll let Brian answer more just because he kind of ran point more so on this. I mean, there are my kind of 2 cents is I'm not a fan of these kind of text amendments in general. It's not that it's poorly worded or anything, but it's, it's kind of a self-serving. As Attorney Blank said, it's really customizable for one property and one property only, at least as far as we can tell. So there's a little bit of the spot zoning concern there. But at the same time, this is kind of a out of the way property, so it's there. So I don't know. If you ask me tomorrow, I might have a different opinion on it. So I'm just not positive one way or the other.
Yeah, I think Adam's first point is fair. I think what staff is recommending to you is taking a little bit more time on this application, holding the hearing open for the night. The reason that's a little bit different, why this one is more substantial than the last amendment, was since then we've now changed our definition of dwelling unit. And then we've also changed the parking regulations. Now there's parking that's required again, whereas the previous modification, there's no parking requirement. So changing from extended stay to apartment units, it didn't affect the overall parking that was required on the site. So now we have the question of we're going to have 207 dwelling units. They're proposing 209 parking spaces, but we don't know how to square whether or not that complies with the parking requirement. Right now, there's two paths for them to comply with the parking requirement. One is they could do 10% of the units at 60% SMI, and then they would go to a 1-to-1 parking ratio. That would solve that issue. The other option is they submit a parking needs assessment to you, and that would get reviewed by staff, potentially a third party, and TMP. So probably the most feasible path is doing a 10% at 60% SMI unit count. But so what we're asking is, we're not sure, one, if this would be considered a modification to the application, or if this is a brand new application. And two, even if you approve this text amendment, we're not sure that it would make their coastal site plan approvable. So we want to kind of get answers to those before you guys take action.
Thank you.
Well, and I mean, I would say we have quite a strong disagreement with the analysis there. As I kind of went through already, when we moved 100 units from extended stay to apartment, it was deemed a minor change by this commission. What we're asking for you to do today is to move 100 units of extended stay to apartments. It remains exactly the same. It is a minor change. The underlying regs don't impact whether it's a major change or a minor change. It's the same thing, and it's grandfathered on the parking. What's really happening here is that if it's a minor change, you don't need to now bring the whole complex up to the current zoning regulations. You are grandfathered in. What you had approved stays. You're just making a minor change to it. If you say, no, you need to file a all new application, then you're saying you no longer have, because when this was originally approved, there was no parking required. You lose that. You now need to come up with a way to have parking for all of this. And you've not seen, I don't think, other than a public housing authority, a single application come in proposing 60% of SMI, because it doesn't work. Right. So that's not, I mean, we're not going to come back at 60% SMI. We prefer not to have to go through the rigmarole of a parking needs assessment to show that the parking that we're providing is sufficient. And he can build it the way it is and call it extended stay and rent it for short-term leases. I mean, to me, it seems like a nice benefit, and saying that we're not going to call it a minor change is really a way to try to kill the project.
Diana?
Is there any retail requirement in any of this?
No, because it's not on like a primary. I'm going to say primary. That's not the right term, but it's not on a main road.
Okay. Got it. Thanks.
Go ahead, Tammy.
Thank you. Hi, Attorney Blank. Could you just remind me, please, which one of your buildings is now a dormitory? And none of what you're proposing here is dormitory, correct?
Correct.
And
Jason,
so where's your dorm? It's over on Belden?
I'll let Jason, if he's there. I don't know the answer.
Oh, okay. But, well, I guess the
Hey.
reason I'm asking is kind of about the
Hello.
parking.
Yeah, we can hear you,
Hello.
Jason.
Yep, we
Yeah.
can hear you. We can go ahead with the response to the dormitory.
We don't have any dormitory. Your commission and your zoning changed to call dorms dwelling units. That's the only reason they're mentioned. And we would like to keep it open, that we could have a dormitory.
Okay, hi, Mr. Milligan. I'm confused by what you said. So their dwelling unit for dormitory is a different definition than what these, if I may just call them multifamily units are, because a
No,
dormitory
that's not,
implies.
they used to be. They used to be a different. You changed them after my approval for extended stay and dorms and apartments to all be considered the same. Prior to this approval, you had it no distinction. So you could have apartments and dorms, apartments and hotel, apartment and extended stay. So I'm saying your definition now calls them all the same. A dwelling unit is a dorm or a house or an apartment or an extended stay.
That's not quite correct. They're considered the same for purposes of determining density. That's all.
Okay.
And as a landlord, Mr. Milligan, you wouldn't mix dorm dwelling units with multifamily apartment units, would you?
I might.
Okay.
But
I'm
when you say mix, I mean, I don't know.
like
I
in the
mean,
same
with separate
building on the
entrances?
same floor. Are you going to have a dorm room?
Oh,
next
no,
to
no.
an apartment room that somebody's
No.
paying monthly rent?
No, there's no intent to do that whatsoever. Our intention right now is to have this entirely apartments. You changing the classification, the text change, has nothing to do with what our proposal is. Our proposal is apartments. So if you approve apartments, that's what we can build. We'll go in and pull the permit and I'll build them this year. Like right now, that's what the market wants. That's what the
No,
government.
you can't take off your band-aids. We need to clean you.
Anna,
Anna,
you came off.
you're not muted.
I hope that wasn't for me.
Was not. Please continue, Mr. Mulligan.
So Tammy, right now the state is desperate for more apartments. That's why they have the incentives, the CHAFA Build for CT program. We need more apartments. We need more affordable apartments. The college also needs dorms, but I think this is a little bit confusing because of what happened. And just to be honest, the reactionary policy by some of the previous administration is part of the problem. And here you are again with the reactionary policy. You already treated this one way and you're potentially taking a 180. This is a minor change. This project's beautiful. We took a lot of input from everybody in the neighborhood, from everybody in the government, and we used it. Right? Everyone complained about what the shielding the parking, and we copied Randy Salvatore with his townhouses to shield that, and we cut the building down and we added parking. How could this possibly be a major change? And unless you want to kill it. And here's the thing: I will build a non-branded extended stay hotel. I can go in there and pull that permit tomorrow. This is a big project that is going to be up for 100 years. You're worried about telephone poles for 20 years. I mean, do we really want a monthly turnover to have all this transient stuff coming in there? I mean, I'll make the best of it. And we need people and we need customers. But like, we have this ability to make the better product. And we also have the ability to work on a roundabout that we sort of did a nice job on. We have the ability to improve that entire area. To me, it seems like such a no-brainer. I don't understand how this is even contemplated. Like, if we focus on what we have approved and what we're asking for, that's the only delta. To try and say, no, you have to go back to the beginning and come in here like as you don't have an approval. I have an approval. I'm not going backwards from that. If you think this is going forwards, you should approve it, and easily. And there's a path, a very easy path.
Thank you. And to be clear, like we're currently hearing the zoning text regulation, so we're not looking to make any actions on the coastal site plan review that's also being discussed to some degree here. Tammy, did that answer your questions? Do you have further follow-up?
Nothing further at the moment. Thank you.
Of course. Doug, I think I saw your hand earlier. Do you still have a question? And you're muted, so if you're...
Getting back to Mr. Milligan's, I guess, argument that, like I said, I'm not familiar with the last two passages of this. So if one was done with a minor change, then I do wonder why you would want to go through a text that I agree with staff, Stephen Lepin, that it kind of is spot zoning that you're doing. And I've never kind of liked that. But then if the units are saying the same, the parking's almost the same, you're just basically taking what would be a dorm use and making an apartment. I'm trying to figure out why. I just don't understand, and that maybe we're going to take a look at that. From my point of view, I think doing a text change that probably only applies here, but you can't tell me what's going to happen in 10 years in the real estate market in town that somebody else may or may not be able to utilize that seems to be a better method. But I don't know, have we taken this by the city attorney to find out which was the more Bennett? Did I see your head shake? Yes.
So yeah, if I can extend what you're saying, because that's gets to one of the questions that I had as well for the applicant, was about the spot zoning piece. A lot of the presentation tonight was made about a single parcel, and there were some representations that this likely only applies to a single parcel. So, as we're evaluating this, I'd really like to understand a little bit more about your take on how this is or is not spot zoning. And we'd like some more information there, so that way we're making a decision, not opening ourselves up to liability.
Yeah. So with respect to spot zoning, I think you recently heard a proposal for a little park down by Rowayton in South Norwalk to have its own zone for one parcel called Manresa. 100% allowed. You can pass a zone for a parcel. You can pass a zone for a single parcel. It becomes problematic if you pass a zone for a single parcel and it's not compliant with your plan of conservation and development. If it's compliant with your plan of conservation and development and it applies to only one property, it's entirely permissible. And I'm not going to concede that this only applies to one. It clearly applies to us. I'm not sure, though, that there's not other properties that have approvals for dwelling units that haven't been constructed yet. Right. So there's no real benefit to those of this text change. I think Mr. Milligan in this site is probably the only beneficiary of the regulation, but it probably does apply to a couple of properties. But it's not a legal spot zoning because it's compliant with the POCD.
Okay. I appreciate you sharing that. And Brian, thank you for also providing information in the staff memo as well. But Attorney Blank, I think it might be helpful if you're able to submit some information around your perspective on that. And I'd like the law department to take a look and be able to provide some information to us, just that way, like, we have a comfort level that we're not opening ourselves up to risk in approving something like this. I just want to make sure that we have our I's dotted and T's crossed.
It's going to be a problem, and you're always open to risk. And I've seen you guys spot zone with the best of them. Look right across the street. Clause 13, it was specifically written to just for that one piece of property. It was a complete bastardization of your morals, your character, and your zoning regulations. And this is, the problem is when I got this approved, the law department and Jim Travers changed the rules. They changed the rules about the parking. They freaked out. Nobody has built any projects under those old regulations that were only good for a year. And here's the thing. If you're going to go to the law department, we're going to end up in litigation. And Mario's got a freaking problem with me, and it's not right. If you talk about liability, going to Mario and letting Mario treat me differently than anybody else, treat me differently than even you treated me before, that's a problem. And if you're going to force me to build the extended stay hotel, I guess I will have to.
To be clear, I'm not trying to engage in any of what you just described. I'm really focused on what this commission has.
I'm willing to bet my life savings. I'm willing to bet my life savings that Lou Schulman was put up to that first question. He knew exactly what he was asking.
I don't appreciate the allegation there, Mr. Milligan.
Okay.
So that request aside, I'd like to move to another point that was raised a little bit earlier, which is in the statement that the extended stay hotel could be rented on a month-to-month basis to someone as if it were an apartment to them. My understanding from the regulations and like from the definition for extended stay hotel is that it's intended for folks who have a permanent residence elsewhere. And so it's not intended to be their permanent residence. Is that your understanding as well? I just want to make sure I'm understanding that from the representation you made earlier.
Yes.
Okay.
Would I be allowed to rent to homeless people?
I mean, if I'm reading this, I don't believe so under that regulation, but I'll defer to staff if they have a different.
I'd love to see you kick the homeless people out. It'd be fun.
Are there additional questions for the applicant here?
I'll just point out that you did receive a pretty late public comment, so I just forwarded that to you. So I don't expect that you have a chance to read that, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and you know, I will just for, I think, you know, in Jason's defense a little bit, I don't necessarily agree with some of the comments he's just made, but I will say that this absolutely was treated as a minor change previously. Any other applicant, any other application, this would be treated as a minor change, and it would have been approved. The fact that it's Jason and the fact that this property has a history where it was originally a public parking lot, that he paid money to the city to ultimately to settle litigation, and we've had multiple litigations over it, that there's a thumb on the scale here for him that maybe is not felt by others. And I can understand his frustration in that respect.
I appreciate that. I'll note that from my perspective, sorry, Doug, briefly, from my perspective, I'm really looking at this at the land. I understand it's currently owned by Mr. Milligan or the Wall Street Opportunity Fund more specifically, but our regulations are about the land and the neighborhood and such. And just want to make that crystal clear that is my perspective. Doug, if you don't mind, I see Steve rose his hand. I don't know if that's about what we're, yeah, go ahead, Steve.
No, Mr. Hempstead can go first. I can wait.
Okay, go ahead, Doug.
No, I'm back to making sure I still understand what minor changes are. So the applicant could, if we can, the way they're speaking and the way I understand it, that they wanted to say, we're just going to make this all apartments. And we just figured that's a minor change because the footprint hasn't changed. Parking hasn't really changed. It's just a matter, we're going to make this all apartments versus anything else. And am I understanding that correctly? And it was staff suggestions to change the language for or this or the attorney. I'm just trying to understand.
So Doug, you've been around for a long time, Doug. You know how much litigation was here.
I'm asking a question.
No, but let me, Jason, if you, Mr. Hempstead, so to maybe give you explain it in a different way would be if, as an example, somebody came in with that, they had a 10,000 square foot house that was approved with beautiful landscaping, and they wanted to put a 5 foot tall stone wall up at their property line. Very minor. We'd all agree it's a very minor little addition, minor change. But you can't put a retaining wall up at a property line. It's against the regs. So you would have to change the reg in order to get that minor change approved. That's the backdrop.
That's why you're here that way. Okay.
But here's the other thing, Doug. You changed the regulations after we got approved to call our extended stay dwelling units. We're saying we're fine. Can we flip and flop between dwelling units? We say you can. Adam could give a strong legal argument that you can. Steve and Brian didn't feel comfortable with that. And hence we're in the law department again. And this thing has already got too much litigation on it. So it's a little bit gray. Had it not been me, it might have been viewed differently. It might have been. But the thing is, so we said we came up with an elegant solution, make a text change that makes it crystal clear that these dwelling units are treated the same. And there's, if you've already previously got a project approved, you're not in purgatory. You don't have to start back at go. And you got a decent project that, you're just trying to tweak a little bit, that you can do it. So we found a way that sort of, we also have a text change, a zoning pilot that would be for the whole neighborhood that we've spent a bunch of money on. We did parking studies for everybody. It's just, we're trying to find the straightforward path and we're not finding it, Doug. It's not hard. This is a nice project. It shouldn't be hard. All of you sitting there know this is a nice project. You're just scared.
Steve?
So, and I'm not trying to be argumentative because I will argue points for and points not necessarily even against, just to clarify. At no time did the regulations allow density beyond one dwelling unit per 500 square feet. At the time of the initial approval, you could do an extended stay plus the residential apartments, whatever the site density could support at that formula per 1 per 500. So when the initial approval came in, it was for extended stay, which had no density requirement whatsoever, and the dwelling unit. So they got to basically, nothing nefarious or anything like that. They got to double dip and got both aspects approved. Then we said, all right, that's probably not the best thing to consider long term because that could happen in places all over the place. And we were like, all right, well, maybe we don't want to see that. So then for density purposes, we said extended stay, dormitories, and apartments are all subject to that 1 per 500 standard. So you couldn't build both at the same time. We do, like if you think about a mixed use building, we don't say how much commercial space you could put in the building. It's mixed use and it's contemplated that way. But we did draw a distinction between hotels, extended stay hotels, and dormitories for that purpose. And I think the argument that they could make, and I think is an appropriate argument, is that, and I think Attorney Blank alluded to it, is the form-based code lets you build this box, or whatever is that box is, you can build, and how you utilize the space within the box is really the question in front of the commission. Is that something you think we don't have a care if it's all apartments or it's extended stay, it's dormitories plus apartments? That would be up to you if you wanted to approve or deny the text amendment.
And, and I agree with what Steve said. I don't have any disagreement with what Steve's just laid out. To give you a point of comparison, on Water Street, 108 Water Street, Spinnaker development, I think I'm going to get the numbers wrong, but let's say it was about 57 or 58 units of apartments, which was the maximum density that was allowed at the site, but it didn't nearly fill out the sort of the developable envelope that your form-based regs allow. So they included a hotel, but they made sure it wasn't extended stay, because extended stay would have counted as a dwelling unit. So it's a regular hotel, not extended stay, which is allowed with your maximum dwelling units. They also included 100,000 square feet or so of office, or maybe it got reduced to 30 or 40,000 square feet, but a significant component of office and retail, all on top of the apartments. Nobody said, well, that's sort of unfair double dipping, or that's not allowed. It was, that's what our form-based zoning allows. It's only when it comes to apartments and now extended stay hotel and dorms where you crack down and say, we know you can fill a box this big, but you can't put all of that in it. You got to put something different in there. I think in the bigger picture, I'm not sure I love that for the city, and I like a more pure form-based code. But for this particular project, I think it's a great project, and I'd love for you to find a way to let it move forward.
By the way, Spinnaker also had only office, and they made a minor change to add the hotel. Just saying. And the other thing is, the bigger problem
Jason, that wasn't a minor. They had to go through a special permit for that. That
all
wasn't
right,
a minor change.
It was considered a major change. They had to do another CAM application.
Technically, yes. It's coastal site plan and special permit.
Well, the other point I was going to make, and we talk about it all the time, there's a bunch of luxury apartments. The current regulations highly encourage everyone to build the same highly amenitized properties where you have 2-bedroom apartments for $7,000 at the Piper. And, you have all this extra room, so they make amenity space. They have the excess parking. All of the Waypoint stuff is more of the same. This is an affordable neighborhood. And so if you have smaller units, and I say smaller, they're not tiny, they're not micro. Our smallest units are like 450 square feet, and we have 1,200 square feet. I'm saying you can fit this in here, and we're still able to fit another 50 parking spaces. What happens is this gets confusing. If you look at the big picture, we want more apartments. We want more apartments right here. This is approved. Getting from 0 to approval is difficult and expensive. We're right there. And the question is, are we going to build a project that was ham-handed and meandered our way there and is not great? Or are we going to have one that's great, but tricky on the regulations? That's it. Like the project, if you were just, are we even going to present the project? You guys all loved it when we presented 6 weeks ago. There was not one problem or question with it.
Harvey?
That's Steve. Yeah, okay. I think the context here is really important and really helping me. Like, I think the fact that this proposed zoning change is not purely in a vacuum, and it is in fact like, so we rewrote the regulations to consolidate the definition of dwelling unit to encompass everything. And that was applied across the entire city. And that in practice, like, caused a specific problem for this previously approved project. Like, I'm drawing a bit of a distinction between where like a previous kind of like broadly based regulation change has now caused a specific problem on this parcel. That feels a little bit different to me than like we're kind of just poking at this one parcel out of the blue.
I don't necessarily think that's correct. I don't think the regulation change did anything to this project. They're asking for basically twice the density for the site. Now, if you feel that's appropriate given the structure that's proposed, that's fine. That's definitely your decision to make. But there's nothing preventing them from building what was approved already. So we have not caused them any harm with the regulation change. They're seeking to now say, all right, well, we got approved for extended stay, but instead of extended stay, we'd like to just do all apartments. And you'll have to make a decision whether you think that's a good idea, not a good idea, or have concerns with the amendment as proposed.
Doug?
I want to make sure I got an apple on an apple. When Steve, when you mentioned that they're doubling the density, but if the square footage that is occupiable, which where they're building underneath the present scenario, and the proposed scenario is all one of the same, is it not?
That's the argument. If I was the applicant, I would be focusing on.
It's actually 10,000 square feet smaller, or 5,000 square feet smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird that you could do 4-bedroom units, 110 4-bedroom units, but you can't do 200 2-bedroom units in the same envelope. It's and those bigger units, some of them get rented to families, but some of them get rented to roommates.
Yeah, I mean, a true form-based code does not look at the density, does not look at the parking, it's the way it is. But, Norwalk is like, I would say most Connecticut communities, as you know, are very conservative in their approach to land use. Norwalk is not that conservative, but at the same time, sometimes like to take baby steps on things, and without going full in, they want to just take smaller steps and see how those impacts are played out, and then adjust down the road as we see. Same thing you did with your ADU regulations. You took smaller steps and have loosened them up as time has gone by.
Which is why that's why we submitted this tailor-made, so it's a baby step. It's not, we have a zoning pilot that would do the whole neighborhood. We're going to be coming to that with you that hopefully soon with a lot of input from everybody else. So it may not be as good as we'd like, but this is a very incremental change.
Are there further questions for the applicant or for staff? Or comments from commissioners? Go ahead, Tammy.
Thank you. I'm not sure who to direct my question to, but I guess Mr. Milligan. In general, for this neighborhood, I've liked your ideas to try to make not capital A affordable housing, but units that are affordable for people in different parts of the economic spectrum, particularly including students and artists in that neighborhood. I think that's a great way to, Wall Street is still trying to be revitalized. So in Mr. Blank's presentation, he talked about affordable units with the capital A. But how do you see it if it was ideal for you? Would it be the state definition, or would it be just what the market bears for affordable because the units are smaller and not fancy?
So I prefer to have as little government as possible in my life. I can move quicker, and I think I'll make good decisions based upon the feedback closest to the area. It's not that I will ignore you or I will come to different conclusions. It's just that I don't want all these partners because you slow me down. I think that all of you are intelligent people. They care about Norwalk. It's just I don't want to come check with you each time, right? And I'm willing to make mistakes and try again. Look, this is my third attempt at this. I know I want to build something great here. My first attempt, I'm glad that we didn't do it. I'm glad I didn't build the 210 room extended stay, right? It would have been a big project that would have long lasting effects. I would have made the best of it. But so the short answer is I would prefer the version where I don't have to be involved. I don't even want the 10%. But I will tell you, just given the lay of the land, given how expensive it is to build, and given the program that Chaffa has established, I will almost definitely be using that again. It was easy to work with. The guy that they hired, the director, is a smart guy and not a typical bureaucrat, to put it nicely. And it went fairly quickly. So I would say we'll have a slice of each, and they're going to be naturally affordable anyway. That's the thing about these, right? I'm not putting a lot of amenity space purposely because I want all those people to walk to all the restaurants and commercial spaces that are my tenants, which Adam pointed out, right? So like we have a walkable, bikeable community. That's what everybody says. We're putting 30 million into infrastructure. We want people moving around there. We have a 500 or 400 parking space garage that was built in 1962 for the neighborhood. You should be moving in and around that neighborhood. And that's what this is going to do. All of these people are going to be in and around the neighborhood doing great things. A lot of them are going to live and work. And we hope that a lot of them don't even have cars. Like I have at least 30 to 40 tenants that don't have cars. And I have several big time commercial tenants that are also residential tenants of mine. They use their car like once a week. Greer, who has that big restaurant, is a beautiful restaurant. She walks to work. She lives on Wall Street. Thea Catherine, who opened up the big salon, she walks to work. Carter, who rents 2 banks, lives on East Avenue, walks to work. I mean, it is happening on a small scale. In a few years, when you look back, people are going to look at this area of Norwalk and say, this is exactly the type of communities we want to make. And they'll probably be quicker to get to it because it is painful. And I understand that, you take small steps. I am an uncomfortable change agent. I will make plenty of mistakes. You guys have the benefit of using the good ones, the things I don't mistake on, or the things I fix, and we all work on this together. So any of you have been down to Wall Street in the past 3 years, you know it's better. You know it's better.
Tammy, did I answer your question? Yep. JJ.
Yes, good evening. I like the idea. I love this innovation, and I'd like to see how this evolves into a model that other cities can adopt. We need more diverse housing for more diverse incomes. Right now, we don't have too much of it, and any more that we can get, it's a good thing.
Thank you. Are there other comments or questions from commissioners? All right, Attorney Blank, do you have anything else for your presentation?
No, I just would like the opportunity, if after public comment to respond if there is any.
Absolutely. All right. So with that, we will turn to the public participation portion of tonight's meeting. So with that, in a moment, Brian will share how folks can participate in the in this hearing. You will only have one opportunity to speak. While there's no limit on how long you may speak, we ask that you are concise. This ensures that your points are clear and others will have time to speak as well. This portion is not a dialogue, and the applicant will have an opportunity to respond to all the comments at the end. We ask that you are polite and that you start with your full name and address. Brian, do you mind sharing how folks can participate in tonight's hearing?
Sure. For folks who are in the public, if you'd like to speak, please use the raise your hand tool. It's at the bottom of your screen. You'd click that once. And if you're dialing on a phone, you'd hit *9. Right, that we have Mark Allen.
Hello, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you please start with your name and address?
Sure. I'm a resident at 128 Gillies Lane. And I've been employed with Factory Underground for the past 16 years at 16 Isaac Street.
Please begin. Yeah.
I think he muted himself.
You muted yourself, Mr. Allen. We cannot hear you.
Where did you go, Mark?
Sorry, guys, I didn't mute that. I don't know what happened, but I've during most of my time, I've served on the board of directors with the Wall Street Neighborhood Association with Jason Milligan. And to tell you the truth, Jason and I haven't always seen eye to eye on everything. You know, at times I'd see him as a double-edged sword. One thing I know about him outside of the real estate world is that he's a high school athletic coach. That says a lot about him because Jason is a tough adversary, but he's a great teammate. And when you're on the side right with Jason, he's a really, really good teammate. And that's what he's really been for all of us in the Wall Street neighborhood. There's been so many positive things that have come out of what he's done. And when I think about this unit that's going to be directly across the street from my business, the fact that he's made that building smaller, less units, and is now going to be adding 50 public parking spaces, to me, that's a huge win-win for my business, number one. And then number two, Jason is all about naturally affordable housing. And I can just tell you from my own perspective, I see everything through the arts and culture lens. I'm all about breathing life into the arts and cultural district of Norwalk and having more options for affordable housing for artists, musicians, and students. And I say students because you have NOCO and you have Factory Underground, two schools, all within, 100 feet from this building, where I can see where there's affordable housing for musicians and artists. That's really huge for this community. And so I'm really in favor of this. I'm in favor of the text change giving flexibility to Jason to be able to provide naturally affordable housing for our community. And I hope you see my point. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If anyone else would like to talk, please use the raise your hand tool now. If you're dialing on a phone, you'd hit *9. See nothing further, Mr. Bryce.
Thank you. All right, so we will close the public participation for this evening on this application. With that, I'll turn it to Attorney Blank for any response to the comments.
I don't have any response. Just hope that you'll look favorably on the application and really would like you to act on it.
Thank you. With that, is there any questions from commissioners or further comments? And as a reminder, Doug is seated this evening for this application.
Adam, can you speak to the public parking component of it? that was mentioned? Whether the public parking that's would be provided as part of the project and how that would kind of get codified into it?
I think, well, right now, there is a agreement with the city for public parking at the site. There's a ability for the property owner to end the formal relationship with the city on the public parking that can be terminated. No decision's been made on that at present. The plan is to get the building built and up and running, and there will be some spaces provided for the public. Exactly what that will entail is a little to be determined. I don't think we can commit to a set number of spaces today, other than to say that between this site, 24 Belden, and whatever, not all adjacent properties have parking, but quite a number of them do. That we're going to make parking work for the neighborhood. And that's in addition to the public assets that are out there. And as I know I've mentioned in the past, but some of the bigger spots like this garage and over at 24 Belden, where they're sort of very large parking garages, if parking ever becomes truly a real issue, then there are solutions like valet that would allow you to take the existing parking assets and double their capacity, particularly in peak hours. It's not necessarily something you're going to want to do 24/7, but it can certainly be done. But there hasn't been a demand for it yet. But I mean, Jason can speak to it, but we have every intention of protecting the factory underground and the other retail tenants that are immediately in our neighborhood with this development.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, I'm providing 130 public parking spaces on this site and another 20 or so elsewhere, public spaces. But the agreement I have in place right now is 88 public parking spaces. The funny thing is, or ironic thing is, I don't draw a distinction between what I'm providing for my site and who the public is. When I have 100+ commercial tenants and more than that in residential tenants, if you're down in the Wall Street area, more than likely I'm involved. So of course I want you to be able to park somewhere.
And then the only thing I'll point out too is just that I don't have a resolution prepared for you tonight.
Okay.
So just take that with a grain of salt.
Understood. Before we move to that point, is there further discussion or questions or comments from commissioners?
Is a resolution needed for an up-down vote on a text change?
I would feel most comfortable having a resolution in order for us to take action on a resolution. It doesn't mean that we can't enter a motion tonight and then at our following meeting in deliberations, have the resolution actually proposed. All right. So hearing no further questions or comments from commissioners, we have a request to continue. We have a request to approve, and obviously we always have the opportunity to deny as well. Is there a motion for this application? Doug, what is your motion? You're muted. I can't hear you. Sorry.
Well, I assume we're approving the proposed text changes subject to a written resolution by the staff.
Correct. And so when
be voted on that, and they'll be voted on at our in a regular next meeting, which would be what, a week? I think we're gonna 2 weeks.
2 weeks. And so to further on that, yes, that's right. And when that text comes in front of us, if you were to so move as you are, you would have to reaffirm that the language proposed is consistent with what you've moved for. So we'll have an opportunity to discuss more specifics then. Steve, please.
I would say maybe not take any action if you don't have the resolution in front of you. I'd say if you're inclined to vote favorably on it, then simply instructing staff to prepare a resolution in favor of the amendment would probably be the better, smoother course of action for tonight.
Okay. I'm not opposed to that, Doug. I don't know if you
Yeah,
feel the same way.
no. So making a motion
to continue
to have staff draft a resolution on text amendments code based on being presented by the client here this evening and have it for us at our next regular scheduled meeting.
Excellent. Yes. Wonderful. Tammy, did I see you second that?
Yes, I will second that to move it forward
Excellent.
move it along.
Thank you. I think we can do this continuation with a show of hands. All those in favor of a continuation? All right, that appears to be unanimous. All right, thank you for your presentation this evening, Attorney Blank and Mr. Milligan. Thank you for joining us so late in your evening. Enjoy the rest of your trip.
Chapin, just to clarify, the hearing is still open, or are we closing the hearing for the purposes of just preparing a resolution to be voted on? That's not really new information. It's just an action. I don't know if we're going to get emails, whether we should be forwarding those to you. Just clarification on whether you want to continue or close.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Doug, I saw you raise your hand.
Yeah.
Given that you made the motion, how do you feel about keeping this open for comment?
I'm sorry. I would just close the hearing out because this is duly advertised, and we're basically the way this was passed is we're accepting basically the text that's being proposed from the attorney with maybe a minor tweaking. So I don't know what you would keep the hearing open for.
I'll note that I did have a request. I understand the applicant wasn't a fan of it, but I did have a request for having additional information about the spot zoning piece. And so I wouldn't mind keeping it open just to see if that can be submitted and we can understand a little bit more about that for our own sake. But I understand you did make the motion. I'm happy to defer to you, Doug.
That's from your attorneys though, right? I mean,
sorry, Mr. Milligan, we have a motion on the floor. It's just the commissioners at this time.
Oh, But then the applicant still has an opportunity to respond if we change the language, correct?
If we keep the,
if
we keep the hearing open,
you're not going to see a big public outcry, I don't think. So I'm trying to be real here too, not to delay anything any further, just to move it along. So, do you need a motion to close the hearing?
Yes, or is it just something I say that the hearing is closed? Sorry, Brian or Steve.
I don't think you need a formal motion to close the hearing unless somebody, I think you should decide if you want to close the hearing for sure.
Does anyone feel strongly against closing the hearing this evening? Okay.
Given that
Hearing
there's
none.
only one speaker, I think, the public didn't seem too motivated to.
Thank you. All right, so we will close the public hearing and continue forward as described earlier. I believe that our next meeting is August 19th. And staff, if you could please prepare a resolution for us to consider a motion for approval. Excellent. Attorney Blank and Mr. Mulligan, thank you again for your presentations this evening.
Thank you.
Have a good night. All right. We deferred the application 2026-52 coastal site plan review. I'd also ask that we continue that, given that we can't take action on it this evening. So with that, is there a motion to continue that application to at least our August 19th? Thank you, Harvey. Is there a second? Thank you, Lou. I think we can do this with a show of hands. We'll have Anna seated for this one. All those in favors? All right, that's unanimous. All right, so now we will move to acceptance of the minutes. We have two sets of minutes for us to consider this evening. We have the July 15th and the July 29th. So let's begin with the July 15th, 2026. Is there a motion to approve these minutes? Thank you, Lou. Is there a second? Thank you. Any fixes or comments on the minutes?
Just want to thank the chairperson. I think these really help, and I think would help in any defensive mode that the commission might have to take in any kind of lawsuit that they're a lot more detailed. So thank you.
Of course, and I'll pass the thanks on to Diana for putting these together. I know that it's sure more effort to include this detail, so thank you. I really appreciate it. All right, with a show of hands, all those in favor of approving the minutes? All right, and that's unanimous, or sorry, all those abstaining? Thank you, JJ, sorry, it's all good. So that carries with a majority. Next, the July 29th, 2026. Is there a motion to approve? Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Harvey. Any modifications or comments on these minutes? All right, with a show of hands, all those in favor to approve? All right, those abstaining? Thank you, JJ. So that carries with a majority. Comments of the director, Steve.
A couple quick things. The ADU contest information went out to the design community. We'll continue to try to promote that. Hopefully we get entries, but they're not due back until early October. So I really have nothing to report beyond that. We did get some additional Manresa information and we got comments back from Deep and a second letter from our peer review traffic consultant. And we're expecting additional comments from TMP by the beginning of the week. So they'll get posted tomorrow and I'll forward them out directly to your email so you can read them as you wish. And I'm working on some other information related to that and we'll get that out to you as well. And that continuation of the hearing is also on your August 19th agenda.
All right. Any comments of commissioners?
I've got a question for, excuse me, question for the staff. All of the emails I received over the last day or two came to my email account. None of them came to the city account. Is there a problem there?
Did anybody else have issues with their city email account? Okay.
It wasn't so much that I didn't notice it as an issue with the city email account. I noticed that all of a sudden I got 2 emails to my personal from you guys related to P&Z when I hadn't gotten any personal for the last whatever number of months. I'm not sure if those were sent to both because I also got them to my city email. But two,
time to check mailing lists again.
A reminder about a Zoom reminder about the meeting starting in an hour.
Oh, those are on. So
me.
if you prefer, I have the Zoom invites just sent to both your personal and city, whatever, because those are automated. So it's whatever's easier for you to log in, whatever your Zoom account's linked to, I think is whatever's easier. I could stop sending them to personal emails if you don't want them to go there.
Well, the problem
I
is,
really appreciate that.
yeah, I mean, if I
And the
had
Aquifer one as well. That was great.
if I hadn't gotten them on my personal email, I wouldn't have received them at all. I have nothing from you guys since July 15th on my city account.
Galen, we can't hear you. Sorry, I did see your hand go up.
City account has been defunct for a long time. I've been kicked off and I tried to get back on it with the city people, then I gave up. So I should redouble my efforts, I suppose. But it's not been a success for me.
Let me email IT and ask them if there's to check it and see if there's a good approach, if there's a group conversation we could have about email access. Maybe that's an opportunity. I'm not sure. We'll ask.
But
please keep sending them to my regular account because otherwise I won't get them, to my personal account.
Doug?
Was the city account something that was assigned to us?
Yeah,
I'll
you
get you on,
probably
Doug.
don't have one yet. Yeah, we
We
have to
get you onboarded and everything.
Yep.
Sending my personal one's fine. Because,
Yeah, the
Or
idea
the
of the city wants.
I had an idea if we get FOI, you go to one account, right? That's the idea behind it, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's easy. And so it's easier. So all like when I send you agendas and things like that, I'd prefer to send those to city email accounts. Zoom invites, I don't care where they go. They can go to your personal accounts. I prefer though, if we're like just have any city related emails, those go to a city email. That way, if we ever do get FOIA, IT can easily just go through those emails and they don't have to like get in contact with you to access your personal email account.
The key thing is
get set
don't
up.
email anything at any time for any reason. That's maybe the best approach.
What do I need to do?
I'll do that for you, Doug. It'll be onboarding, and then probably you just have to call IT at some point. And I'll get
Okay.
it set up.
Yep.
That
We
works.
probably need to set up Jay as well if I suspected. So
Yeah, luckily she's got at least a public library email, so that helps.
there you go. Anna?
It's not related to the email, so only if we're done with that.
Sounds like we're
Done with that.
Yeah.
I know in the past I've given just updates back to the commission on some of what I've, because people sometimes ask me from this commission about the residential parking program. There's been an update from them that they're about to present their first draft of a plan to the Park Norwalk committee or meeting. I believe that's August 26th. You can double check the city calendar, but they're going to present the draft plan, get feedback from the board, and if the board approves it for public comment, that it will go out for public comment. There's going to be 2 periods of public comment, so multiple drafts coming out, and they have a website where I believe the drafts will eventually get posted, but they haven't been presented yet, but it's going to come out this month. So
Thanks. John?
Hi, yeah, sorry. You probably noticed I lost my internet connection there for a while. Where do we end up on the Wall Street text amendment, and where are we now?
I didn't realize we had lost you around that. I did see your video come back on, and I just thought you were off video for a little while. My apologies. We have a motion to approve on the floor, and it is going to be brought to our next meeting in August 19th. And staff is going to work on a resolution for us to review. So that's where we ended. Sorry that I missed that. We also approved two sets of minutes since you were last here, and we continued the coastal site plan for 21 and 23 Isaac Street. And we're now in commissioner comments, so perfect time to join. Are there any other comments of commissioners? Excellent. I will see you all at the August 19th meeting. Actually, before I say that, is there a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Harvey. Thank you, Anna. All those in favor, have a good evening, everyone. See you at the August 19th meeting.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye.